2, and here's Modi. You ready to start? We'll just edit this out, but how good is this song, Danny?
It's great. It's lounge. It's Halloween. It's everything you want.
No, the song, I love I knew you'd love the song.
Oh, yeah. It's loungy.
It's, so
it's Halloweeny.
It's
It's
so
loungy Halloweeny. I love it.
Yeah, but it has like a little Hasidic flair to it, too, you know?
Yeah, it does have Hasidic flair to it.
You know, a lot of Hasidic songs were made into rock and roll songs, too.
Really?
Yeah, the house of the da-dee-da-da, there is a house in New Orleans. You know that song or no?
I know that song. Yeah,
it's a Hasidic song.
It's also like a deadly, not like a funeral song.
It's not a funeral. I was like Vietnam, whatever.
Yeah.
No,
it's like skeletons. It's always like it's a Halloweeny song. No,
is it? No, there is a house in New Orleans. It's such a Hasidic song.
Yeah, it is.
You know, like a low, not a
Right,
like one of those like a little more. Anyway, how are ya? And here's Modi, and here's Danny. Danny,
Hello.
I'm so happy you are here. Okay, Danny, whenever I do shows or whenever I'm on the road or something and I have the opportunity to bring a comedian with me, Danny's usually one of the first I call.
Yeah, and I love it. Yeah,
and
it's
I love
so much
him.
fun. We have the best time.
We have the best time. He's an amazing hang off stage. He is on stage. The audience never knows what to make. And that's really where I wanted this podcast to go today.
Okay.
I want to discuss how, especially a Jewish audience, needs to know how you fit into their lives.
Right.
Where you are in their lives, in the Jewish community, in their world. They need to know that.
Right.
And you kind of like sneak up there, and then you do this little thing, and then you hit them with it.
Yeah.
But with such confidence that it works.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You know, I'm not the kind of comic that panders to any audience.
No.
And it's important to read the audience, but I don't. I just really, I'm always hoping that the audience is going to jump on board.
No, Danny does not pander. He doesn't give a damn.
Yeah.
Literally, and I'm telling people right now, one of my favorite activities to do is if I'm in the house, whether I've had a little medicinal or haven't had a little medicinal, if I see on my phone that Danny's going live, I will always log on. I will, because he doesn't care. Everybody else, like, is my lighting okay? Is my hair? Let me fix that. Danny goes raw.
Yeah, and I'm right by the fridge.
And he's by the fridge. So it's all of a sudden you're watching him, and the lighting is horrendous. You see pineapples behind him. He's usually eating something too. He goes live if there's something he like. Oh, this is the most delicious. And he'll describe, and the coconut, there's coconut chips. There's definitely coconut, and it's so funny. And then he'll reach over and open the fridge, and the lighting just comes. It's so funny. You're hysterical. And there's never more than like 20 or 30 people on.
No, I don't have a lot of. I have a little group of diehard followers.
Die-hard. Now, I am one of your
I
die-hard
love it.
followers.
I love it.
If I see, I just got to see what's happening in your life. The other day when you dropped the pans.
Oh, I dropped the pan.
You wanted to make sure.
Yeah. It's very loud.
The premise was like, when you hear a pan drop or pots or pans drop, it's such an alarming sound. Like people.
Yeah. Every time if I have friends over and they're in the living room, I'll go into the kitchen and I'll drop a pan in the kitchen and scream. And it's a fun, it's like a little moment. It's a moment, Everyone's like, what happened? Right.
It's so, you think like, oh, what happened? It's so amazing. Yeah. Who would have thought? But that's an amazing sound. And so that's just like literally what when you go live, it's that.
And I go live I'm live like 4 to 6 hours a day.
Are you really?
I am always live.
Well, especially
I don't even have a life these days.
It started because of COVID so much,
It started with COVID, and
remember.
just got crazier and crazier, and I got crazier and crazier, and now I'm live all the time.
It's amazing. I catch you at night only. I really don't put my phone on during the day.
No.
But it's so much fun, and just to watch, and when you're headlining and you're doing your own show, you want somebody that you enjoy watching and enjoy hanging out with. Your act cracks me up. Your delivery is completely different from mine.
Yeah.
And it cracks me up. And it's just so much fun to see. And people who haven't seen him live, go find out where he is. And we'll do all that plugging afterwards.
Yeah.
But I've known you. When did you begin doing comedy?
I feel like I've known you for 20 years. I'm doing it for 23, 24 years now.
Yeah, so I've been doing comedy 25 years, probably 26 years, and I forgot also. And I've known you always from the open mic night stuff. And
all
that
those
how you
weird
guys
shows.
met?
back of laundry mats and back of everything.
In that hotel like bar. There was a bar in the Empire State Building.
No, I think one of my favorite times that you performed, a while back did a show at Bowery Bar. Remember Bowery Bar?
Sure.
There was a Bowery Bar. It's a very chic restaurant, whatever. On Sundays, they had employee night where the employees can come in and it's $1 menu. So whatever's on the menu, they can get for $1. And we said to them, let's do a show. We called it Urban Vaudeville. We literally had one speaker the size of this table. We dragged it in. We performed on top of it. And with a mic plugged in. That was it.
When was this?
1870, I don't know. A while back, 90s. Like, I was living on the
probably like 18, 19 years ago.
Yeah, but you remember the Scissor Sisters used to be a regular on that show.
Yeah, Fingerer. Her last name was Melissa Fingerer.
Could be.
She was one of the
Right.
sisters.
There was and Avenue B was a band that performed. And then if we saw somebody in the subway, I would say to them, hey, what are you doing Sunday night? You want to have a free meal and do whatever you're doing right now? And they would come.
Wow.
And there was a guy who used to play this banjo on where you clean the laundry in the South. I mean, my God, that sounds horrible.
No, those old, the old washing, the
tin.
washer board,
Yeah,
board
the-
wa-
yeah, yeah,
washing
yeah.
It's
board.
not just the South. In the tenements, they also clean the laundry out. I don't know why in my mind went South, but, and he played this thing, and it was insane. It was amazing. And actually, I will tell you a funny story about that. Amanda Lepore and Sophia Loren, we booked them one night.
Oh, my God. What, together as an act?
Together as an act. They were both still talking to each other or whatever the thing was. Yeah.
What a duo.
Wait. And we finally got HBO to come watch it.
Wow.
And that night, they were booked as a magic act.
Oh, my God.
Yes. Now, this gets better. And they came on with the music. They had 2 chairs on by then, we already had a stage. They had the 2 chairs. And Amanda Lepore and Sophia Loren, they did some magic act. They were in bathing suits, like your little, bikinis. And they had that velvet bag that you drop the ball, you turn upside down, and the ball's gone. Ta-da! That was the only magic act. And then the music changed to like stripper music. And they took off their stuff.
Oh, my God.
And they started to pull out, what's that thing with you keep, when the magician goes like this?
Oh, like bandanas out of the mouth?
Like the thin silk
Yes,
handkerchief.
out of their newly acquired genitalias.
Oh, my God.
For like 10 minutes going and people's mouths were dropping.
This is amazing.
It was incredible.
Insane.
It was an incredible thing. And of course, I have to go on. I was the host. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, available for your next bar mitzvah. And that was so that was a show that we that was like actually the first time I would ever book you for a show. You did that show a few times.
It was a variety show, and I loved it. Right?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It was a variety show. It was really fun. And then and at the Cellar, at the Comedy Cellar, I see you all the time.
Right, Gotham.
Right. So
right.
and you're always and Danny's the kind of guy that I would call up and say, hey, I have a gig for you. I can't do this. They might the price is good. And I'm like, it's in the back of a living room and to that. He's like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
I don't want to do. I'd rather not have that money.
Yeah.
I'd rather. Nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's the toughest gig to go to somebody's home and to perform.
The worst.
Oh, it's the worst. I mean, every comic, you go to somebody's home, they don't know what's going on, and you have to go there, and you have to turn a living room into a comedy club, and it's an impossible situation.
But I think that's one of the very interesting things about you still is you are one of the few comics I know
that says no all the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
He says no.
I know.
He's saying most comics say a garage, bathroom. You're like no.
So that's when the money comes. So if someone gives me hey, we want to hire you for this, and they think it's going to be amazing. They saw me at a theater. They saw me at a comedy club working in a vacuum. Right. This is where comedy's meant to be done. Correct. This is how it's supposed to be.
Correct.
And now they're bringing. They want to recreate that in their living room.
Right.
Okay, it doesn't translate, and you have to explain to them you can't have food, and there's got to be a sound. It's only 30 people. You need to have sound. There's just an idiot yelling, and so you just throw a price out, and if they really go for it, then they'll give the effort to making it an amazing event. But you just you'd rather
and
not.
you're one of those comics that can go into a room and turn it upside down. Me, I'm not. I don't. Again, you can pander to them. I am not. You have to come on. You have to jump on board.
You can say I pander.
Right,
I do pander. I know my audience. That's my theme. I know my audience, and I give them what they want.
Yeah.
I give them what they want.
It's a beautiful thing.
Danny will say no even if it's at a club he doesn't like, though.
What do you mean?
Just like if somebody will you do I don't like that club.
Oh,
I don't like this.
Well, I've had to blacklist some clubs in my career.
It's amazing. He's blacklisted the clubs. It's so funny.
It's amazing.
Yeah, if they don't treat comics right, I don't go there. I only like to perform at clubs that treat their comics, their talent properly.
It's so true, and comedy clubs don't understand that.
Yeah.
The Comedy Cellar is the Comedy Cellar because they've always treated the comics amazingly.
Right.
So all of them come back, and all of them.
Yes.
There's one club in the city that I know, a very, 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 very famous comedian doesn't go to because. I hope the story is completely true, but this is how I was given the story by an employee of the comedy club. I'm not going to mention the names of the club or the name of the guy who had I think that was the first billionaire comedian.
Well, that's easy to narrow
well, let's just leave it out now. So he went to the club to see his friend perform, and he ordered like a soda water or whatever, and they gave him a check.
What?
They gave him a check, and he since then does not go into that club. And it's pretty funny that it's crazy, but it's a thing. Anyway, but the Comedy Cellar treats their employees and the staff. They make you feel amazing. On the nights,
I honor that club. That club is just to me, it's
just
gold.
another.
Right.
It's another level of. But as I was saying, where I think I'd like this podcast. So now, those of you who are listening to this, and how when you start on a podcast and you're just let's see where this goes, and you click a little few minutes in. Now it's where that click comes in. So okay, like I said, I want the podcast to be kind of about in the Jewish world. And I think every audience actually needs to know where you are in their world.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? So if I'm performing at this week, I was just telling Periel that I performed on a ship, on this boat for this for this guy who's a real estate developer. He wanted to do what's it called, appreciation night for his audience. And he bought a band. There was a band there.
Oh.
And he was real. And
were you docked or did you go into open water?
So this is really funny.
Yeah,
this is really, no, I had to tell you something. Okay.
Because you wanted an escape somehow. If you're in open water.
There's no escape.
Right,
it's the worst gig in the world. They always call you, hey, man, we're doing a show. The Comedy Cellar used to have that boat ride to go around. It was the worst. It was so hard to say no to Esty. I hated that gig so much. She used to be like, don't forget to give avails for the cruise. I'm like, oh, I'm out of town that week. I hated that thing. It's horrible. But it was really funny, actually. So it's all Hasidic men. And they work in real estate development and all that. And I'll even tell you one of the funniest jokes. When you get to one of these events, you always want to find out what they do so you can incorporate it into your material. So he's a real estate developer and builder, but everybody around there was they were like, I don't really work with him, I'm his neighbor. And then I realized there's no employees here. So then I see two guys so it's all Hasidic men, and you see two Latin men. Okay, Enrique and Henry. And then I go to them and I speak to them, and I speak to another guy that actually does work for him, and he explains to me. I go to him, what kind of real estate does he do? Does he do commercial? No, he does both. And does he build? Doesn't really build. So I go, what's his specialty? And he says, permits. This is the guy that can get you any permit you need. Oh. And so that was the vibe of the thing. Anyway, they had an amazing time, but it was just so hard to work for 30 men on a boat. The boat actually broke.
Oh my God.
And we never left the dock.
Cracked in half?
No, the engine, something happened in the engine, and we never left the dock.
Oh, okay.
But what was funny was I went on early, and I could just gone upstairs and left.
Yeah.
But Dovey Mizell, the singer, was on, and I stayed till 10:30 because he was so good, and it was a lot of fun. But those are the types of gigs they saw me in a you can't recreate that. You have to make a different thing of it.
Right, and it's tough because it's all men, so there's no female energy at all.
There was.
Oh,
they had their wives. They had their wives there too, but they were chill. They were not like, it wasn't a religious thing. It was more just like a, let's hang and have fun and listen to good music night. But like I'm saying, in their minds, they think I'm like a Hasidic guy who no longer is Hasidic, and because I throw the Yiddish that they know, which I knew, actually I learned Polish Yiddish. This is Hungarian Yiddish, but it's still, they need to know where you are in their world, and in Florida, when you perform for in those between Fort Lauderdale and Palm Beach, that whole area, where the average age is
100.
Deceased. I mean, literally. But I'm kidding. Literally, that's like a joke. But it's
in the citizen homes, in the senior homes.
Yeah, we could probably edit that out. That's not a nice thing to say. In the in Florida,
Century Village.
But there's beautiful theaters there. Those are gorgeous, 1,200-seat theaters. They pack them in.
Yeah.
The show starts at 7. They're there by 5:30 in their chairs.
They are.
They bring in an opening act that just to sing a few songs so they can unwrap the candy and adjust their hearing aids, and you go on. But they need to know where you are in their world, so they are figuring out that you're their son. You're. One time a woman comes to me and goes, I have a daughter who plays the clarinet in a band. She's just, you should get in touch with her.
Right.
They need to know.
Because you're on stage, she's on stage in a band, and that's how they're relating to you.
So when you go on stage, how do you let them know your placement in their world?
Look, I let them know, first of all, I let everybody know that I'm gay up front.
Do you?
Yeah, within the first minute. Yeah, my squirrel bit is usually my second opener. I have an opening. I talk about being fat because I'm fat right now. Obese, actually. I'm not fat yet. I'm going to get fat soon. But then I like to bust that bubble. I'm like, I know what I look like. You're looking at me. Let's talk about that for a minute. We'll get that out of the way. And then I talk about being gay. That's my second joke usually. Right? It's always my first or second joke is being gay.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you don't hit them with your background yet.
No.
You don't. So you keep going, and you'll talk about this thing in the
it's
park.
later.
And then all of a sudden, you'll drop that your parents.
Hanof, Jerusalem, yeshiva, my mother, Haredi, all of that. And then we talk about Israel and all that stuff. Yeah, but
and they're
later.
like.
Right. Because I want them to know who I am first. And then I'll let them know where I come from, right? Because I don't like telling people where I'm from first. I'd like to just, get, it's easy, like a date.
A date, yeah.
Like a date, you want to have fun
so
first.
Lovable, too. I feel like you're very lovable.
Likeable.
Lovable.
No, lovable. They're very, right away, this is very lovable.
I appreciate that.
And there's
no, it's true.
Right.
And there's no, they're not, they don't have to be worried, it's
not aggressive.
It's not aggressive.
It's not
aggressive.
And you're not judgmental.
No.
And you get totally crazy and worked up about something so extreme, and then you'll change your mind to and you say, or maybe
this.
That's not
Correct.
true at all.
Right. And it's funny. I'm not judgmental. It's funny when I'm performing in front of Jewish audiences. There is some sort of I have a judgment. I worry that they're not going to jump on board to my truth, to who I am. Now, I don't live a gay lifestyle, so that's the whole thing. I don't talk about that, but I am gay. So that's confusing for a lot of people, especially in the secular world. They're like, I don't understand, you're gay, but you don't live a gay lifestyle. I'm like, no, I'm gay, but I don't do gay things. I'm just gay. That's all.
Right.
So I don't talk about to the Jewish audience, but I let them know that but that is my truth.
Right.
So, and I don't know.
So you're not
if
really gay.
that.
You're nervous.
Yeah.
It's, that's really what it is.
It's what it is.
He's just nervous.
I'm just nervous. So it's always an interesting thing. So I always wonder, and I do. There's a part of me that judges. I'm like, they're not gonna jump on board, and I'm always surprised when they jump on board. I always have a great time at your shows. Always.
They love you,
Yeah,
and because at my shows that I bring you to are shows I've produced. They're not shows where it's under an umbrella of another organization. So they've come to be like, okay, let's see this raw without him having to hold back. And even though, and I talk about that, and even though I'm allowed to be dirty, I'm not.
Right.
It just doesn't work. The schmutz doesn't work in my act, and but they come for, so they're open. My audience is open for. So when you hit them with I'm gay,
and I've been getting filthier and filthier on stage.
Have you?
Yeah, because I'm like sexually repressed. I can't. I'm frustrated sexually. I haven't had sex in many, many years.
I know. I'm working
for
on
religious stuff. You're working on it.
I've
She's trying to get me to have sex with men. It's been like 14 years since I've had sex.
No.
Yeah, 14 years.
So does that make you asexual?
No, now I'm gay, but I just haven't had sex in 14 years. So I've been writing very sexual jokes and really dirty jokes. And I'm like, it's surfacing. And I'm talking to my friends. I'm like, why? I've been a clean comic for years. Now I'm filthy. I have this. It's crazy.
What do you consider filthy? The routine you have about the
face to ass.
The face to ass. Okay, it's
very
that's funny. It's
that's
very
not.
funny.
That's like
But I can't. That's not filthy. That's not filthy.
Oh,
for
good.
for him
That's
it is,
not
though.
filthy. First of
Really?
all, you don't say S and F. You don't say
No.
right. And I like to not say it in this podcast either, because if people are listening to this on their radio with their kids in the car,
Right.
you don't need to have S and F flying around.
Right.
So you don't say that. And okay,
I know, but with that,
I'm gonna tell you something why it's not filthy.
why?
It's a funny premise, and it is a sexual innuendo, but it's done brilliantly. I'm going to tell you a story. That I once went to see Jim Norton's taping, right, of one of his specials. Jim Norton is first of all one of my favorite comedians. I think
Brilliant.
crafts
great.
jokes
Brilliant.
and is just brilliant. And it's him and women who are trans women that he dates and all that, and he gets graphic with all that stuff. And I was sitting this because I was invited to this by Jonathan Musin.
Jonathan.
I hope I'm saying his name right. I know Jonathan. I never really said his last name. Now, he works for Netflix. He's right up there with the people who produce these shows. And Jonathan was always at this Passover program that I would perform at every other year with Linda from Presidential Passover. I think they stopped doing it now. So now, when you do a Passover program, again, they need to know who you are, but you have to be super clean.
Right.
And she always would call me, who do you know that's clean? Who can work and clean? Da, da, da. So now here we are in Jim Norton's show. She's sitting next to me. And she's this like, hi, Modi, very little dainty. And as long as it's not clean, as long as it's clean, I don't want to hear any.
Oh my
and
God.
she's sitting next to
Jim
me.
Norton.
And
You're
she's
far
sitting
from
next to me.
clean, right.
You were there. She's sitting next to me. It's me and then and Jonathan, and we're watching the show. And Jim Norton is. But he's so funny how he presents it. She said she didn't feel uncomfortable because he presented it so well. So.
Right, so that's the
Do you know what I'm
difference you're
saying?
Right. Okay, because I have a few comic friends that are like, wow, it's really, that's a gross joke. I'm like, really? It plays on so many levels. It plays on gay, it plays on Jewish, it plays on Muslim, it plays on sexuality, it plays on religiosity. It plays on many levels, and that's why I love the joke. It's sort of like an ice cream sundae. You get everything in it.
Well, you're a very intellectual and philosophical person. I think you think about things deeply, so it makes sense that your jokes are, so layered. They really are.
Yeah, and I'm working on a new joke now that's even filthier than that joke.
Well, I look
And it's
forward
all-
to.
But the fact that you're
No.
working on it means it's going to
Right.
be presentable. If you just came out and said it and screamed
Yeah.
it out and put F and S in it, then it's not cute.
No.
But the
It's
fact that
never
you-
like that, right? It's always there's a story. There's a format to it. Yeah,
So funny how he thinks that's such a dirty joke. It's so funny how
Really?
I can't
glad,
tell you
I'm
what.
really
not
happy to hear this.
It's done so well.
That's how clean I am.
It's
That's
done
what a clean.
so well.
I'm such
and
a
it's,
right.
Right, but it works in a religious audience.
Yeah, I know.
And when I say religious, people who understand the Jewish innuendos, they get that in another level because you also bring your mother,
right,
who lives in Harnof.
Right.
The Harnof, which is to describe Harnof.
Harnof is like a Bnei Brak of Yerushalayim, of Jerusalem. So it's like the
Describe Bnei Brak.
It is right beside Bnei Brak. It is the
Borough Park.
the Crown Heights, let's say, or the Williamsburg of Jerusalem. Not Williamsburg, a hipster, Jewish Williamsburg.
Like ultra-Orthodox.
Ultra-Orthodox, yeah.
Right, and so
right.
the bit is coming a conversation with you and your mother,
Yeah.
which again goes back to my premise for this podcast. They need to know where you are in this world.
Right.
So now they already know that your mother lives in Harnof and she's religious. You're gay. Hey, and you talk to your mother.
Right.
That's a big thing.
That is a big thing.
You're layered. Now you have that in there too.
Right,
Because usually like, my parents don't talk to me and this. Netflix special.
Right.
Netflix
very
TV show.
Good point. Right.
Oh, look, another Jew who hates being a Jew and mother doesn't talk to him, and it's another Netflix unorthodox something.
Right.
But
yeah, no, my entire family's Haredi. My brother is a rabbi. My other brother is Black Hat. My sister's young Israel, but she lives on a kibbutz. But they're all very accepting of me, not of the gay lifestyle, but they love me.
but as you just said, it's not a gay lifestyle.
No, if I walked in with a boyfriend, I wouldn't be able to walk in with a boyfriend. No.
If
I walked,
He
I
couldn't
wouldn't
walk in there with his boyfriend.
Yeah, if I had a boyfriend and walked into my mother's house, I wouldn't be able to walk into the house.
Oh, really?
No,
Okay. Oh,
right.
okay.
I wouldn't be able to walk into my brother's house. My other brother's house, he would be okay, and my sister's house, I would be okay. 2 out of 2 ain't bad.
22. Okay.
That's where I'm angling toward.
Okay, but
that has nothing to do with my family.
Hopefully,
right.
you'll get to that point.
Right.
Hopefully, you'll get to the
No.
point where you can, and they might change. They might change.
No. It had nothing to do with my family. My choice of for religiosity has zero to do with my family. It has to do with my connection to God and
Yeah, but those things
how I look at it.
affect us even subconsciously, no?
The-
Like if your mom was like, listen, I thought about this long and hard and I totally changed my mind and I want you to go get laid.
I don't know if I would.
Do you want a boyfriend?
Not really
A
because
partner?
I would, but I wouldn't. Like I don't because I'm sort of religious like that.
But you're conflicted.
No, I mean it is conflicting, but it's okay.
But you do want to have sex though.
No, after a while you fall out of it. I know it's crazy,
I
but I
think
got
that-
this
used
is
to
the
it.
most confusing.
No,
thing
I
you
know
could
it
ever
is.
have.
It's a very deep conversation.
Yes,
like
we've talked about this for
if you talked to
hours.
me like 12 years ago, I would have been like, "Oh God, I really want sex." But it's been 14 years, so now I don't want sex anymore because it's been a long time.
But
So
I think that if you found a boyfriend who was more religious than you were, that would change the conversation.
Interesting. I don't know. I don't,
Right.
I
No, if
wonder.
you had a boyfriend that told
knows?
you that the kitchen should be a lot more kosher than your kitchen is, and because you eat not so much.
I know. I fall off a lot. Yeah.
You
Right.
fall off. So fall off. It's just whatever
yeah.
works for you. But if you had a boyfriend that was all of a sudden no phone on Shabbat, no you can't go live on Shabbat, you can't then maybe
That's called a daddy.
Or an Abba.
Who knows, right? I can't say no. I don't know. All right.
But it's fun. The real joke is I can't walk into my mother's house with a boyfriend. Why? Because I can't get a boyfriend. So what are you doing besides comedy?
Wait, and I want to also, while we're on the subject, I also want to say it's important for me to add that that doesn't mean I'm not pro-gay. I happen to be very pro-gay, and I believe that all my friends, if they want love, like if they want gay love, they should have gay love. I think love is love. But I mean, it's not for me. I don't want it. But if somebody else wants it, I think that's great. And so I'm pro-gay completely.
No, it's okay.
I want to make that,
No, for sure. No, you definitely not somebody who would push your values on anybody.
Right.
And this is what I believe. But go do what works for you.
Exactly. Yeah.
This is good.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like, but that whole thing I think that's a bit.
Really?
I can't walk into my mother's house. Why? Because I can't get a boyfriend. And this and that, and I don't want a boy. That's
something to toy with. Yeah.
something to toy with. Yeah. And your hair. We have to discuss your hair.
My hair.
No, Danny, I've known you forever. You've always had amazing hair.
Yeah.
And you do crazy things with it.
Yeah.
And it's what a gift.
It's a gift.
It's a gift.
It's a real, and I always, it's always long in the front. I like it long in the front. I never like it short in the front. So it always spikes up somehow.
And you do other things. You do other things besides comedy. You do wall painting and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm actually in this room right now while we're doing this podcast. The wallpaper is black on black, and I'm loving it. And I'm like, is that a stencil? And I'm like looking at the seams now, and I see that there's wallpaper. I love black on black.
No,
I stencil.
You stencil. That's what it is. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was missing the word.
Yeah, that's one of my side hustles. I
kind
stencil
of a gay
walls.
lifestyle.
Again,
with
that's
due
what the
respect.
gay lifestyle.
Oh
That's
my
not
God!
the-
I mean, I'm totally gay. There's nothing not gay about me, except for the fact that I don't have gay sex. But that's it. Right,
Or own a harness.
right. No, right. I would wear a harness.
Yeah, but besides the stencil, you'd wear a harness.
I'm gonna take you to
If
Provincetown.
it was Dolce Gabbana, what?
I'm gonna take you to Provincetown one summer. You're gonna grow out your beard, and we're gonna go to the bear convention.
I wish I can grow out my beard. I don't have hair on my body. I'm like Chinese like that.
Oh my God!
I'm like, look, East Asian. This has been growing for 4
Why? You
days.
look like
this
you
is a
have
4-day. I look at my look. Nothing.
No.
I have no. Look, I'm showing them my body. Nobody can see that.
Hilarious.
I just pulled down my pants. Look.
So, but besides the stencil, you also have
Right.
You have these ties you make.
Yeah, I made my little ties, another side hustle. I brought my Samsonite attaché case.
No, you have to just show this
Okay,
Samsung
yeah,
attaché. Just turn that around, but turn around so they see the front of it. It's so great. Is it in the? I can't tell if it's in the video.
Oh.
It's in the video. Okay, he says Miles says it's in the video, and there it opens up. It's literally out of like a James Bond.
Yeah.
And the ties are amazing.
Well, they're vintage inspired, the design. So that's why I got this attaché case. I was like, there was a point where I was going to go door to door and sell them. I said, let me try
Like
going
a vacuum, like a vacuum cleaner.
like a vacuum
salesman?
cleaner. And like say I have like a Jewish neighborhood, I would go to door in like Borough Park.
That's probably the worst one to carry. This has to hold up. It's the worst. But look, the frog here.
Yeah.
It's just I love it, and it's him.
They're so
If
fun.
it's like if Danny was a tie,
Yeah.
this is what it would be.
They're whimsical. They're a
Right?
lot of fun. They're a
If
lot
I
of
was a
fun.
tie, it would just be one black tie,
with the
Right,
little Prada
right.
insignia.
but like hidden, not like in the
on
front.
on the back. On the
Like
back.
hidden. I don't have an outside label. And
And
yes,
see, I'm
this
also-
story
this
is amazing. Tell
really
the story
crazy.
from beginning to
Okay.
end.
So-
Tell the story from beginning to end.
So, I was sitting with a friend, and I was telling her that when I was a kid, I remember my mother was screaming at her brother, my Uncle Simon, "Get these boxes out of the basement." And my Uncle Simon was like, "I just got a bunch of Brigitte Bardot glasses. I'm selling them." This was when I was 10. It was like 1977. So my friend was like, "You should call your uncle to see if he has any of those glasses left." I was like, "Oh, he definitely, it's 40 years ago. He doesn't have any of those glasses." Text him. I text my Uncle Simon, "You have any of those Brigitte Bardot glasses left?" He's like, "I have one box, I think. It's in the garage." Why? I'm like, "Are you joking? I'm coming over tomorrow."
Does the audience know who Brigitte Bardot is or no?
You could tell them.
Yeah. Brigitte Bardot was this huge, she was like the Kim Kardashian in the 1970s.
That's amazing.
Right.
Wow,
She was
good
like-
one, Danny.
right.
Good
That's
one. Very
amazing.
bang, bang, bang.
Yeah,
Good for
she
you.
was
Wow.
the it girl
It.
in Europe. She was like the hot like beach kitten, the beach bunny, blonde,
There's actually a
French.
song. There's actually a song. Maybe we can put it in there. Brigitte Bardot, Bardot. A few seconds. Play that song and then this little thing. Okay.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
I mean,
continue.
she was the hottest thing. And
How this is only like my first few podcasts was that.
It was, it's okay.
It's
It's
okay.
actually part of the charm of it.
It's the charm of it. I'm not pretending that I'm like, this is my 500 podcast. This is nice and early in my podcast, and I'm figuring it out. But now in my head, I want to hear that song.
Right.
And I wish I had a button, just hit it right now. Brigitte Bardot. Okay, anyway.
Right.
So
I
go
mean, she
ahead.
had songs written about her. I mean, everyone loved her. She was like the it girl of in the 70s.
And she had
then-
merch.
And merch, right? She hated the fact that she was doing merch. So her line, but she started the oversized glasses. She was the one that made it famous. Now everyone wears oversized
Really?
glasses.
I didn't know that.
I thought Jackie O was the one that made.
No, that was she. Well, she wore those the black the not the gradient, Brigitte Bardot. This was done in 1977. Jackie O. You know what? Jackie O. probably. I wonder what glasses she wore. Now that I'm thinking about it.
But you see how he just went like that? That's how when he goes live, he goes into the thought.
Yeah.
So, it's coconut. No, there's definitely cinnamon. There's definitely cinnamon in this. That's how your mind thinks, and also in your comedy, that's how you can tell. Anyway, so okay.
Yeah. So there are these. Well, see, so they're not dark glasses. They're gradient, and they're oversized. Great. Look at these. Aren't these insane?
Yeah, those are fun.
This is her first collection. So in the box
since
that
you're
I found,
since you're scared right now of Delta, I'll have to model them.
Amazing.
Modi's got a great face.
Like
they look good on you.
By the way, this is my mother. This is my mother when we were growing up in the 5 towns in carpool, and the carpool. Get in the car. Get in the. We're going.
They're hot glasses. They look great. I mean,
and by the way, the room looks amazing.
Yeah,
But these are the Brigitte Bardot. First of all, whenever I put glasses like this on, it always looks like my nose came with the glasses.
Can I tell you who you look like right now?
Who?
Marc Jacobs. I don't know if you guys have been following him lately.
Right, he's been wearing gradient oversized glasses.
Yes, he has gone like full Brigitte Bardot.
I have a square frame. That's a butterfly frame.
But it's amazing.
Yeah. And so I go into his garage. I open the box, and there are like about 100 pairs. And some I only have 2. Some I only had 1. Some I have like 20 or 30. But there's another one square.
It's insane.
The square ones will look rare on YouTube.
But
right?
I don't think people can see the details and it's the simplicity, but so chic and huge.
They look great on. Look,
Those are amazing.
amazing, right?
Amazing.
It's amazing. I love these. Now Danny actually brought me a pair.
Yes.
For men.
And so she had a men's look.
Oh, those are sick.
Yeah.
Those are amazing.
These are insane. I literally now I'm like
to Modi as a gift because he always gets me a lot of work.
But
they're
yours.
Believe me, you're the gift on a gig.
And check this out.
The case is
The
insane.
case is the original case, the BB. It's crazy.
Honestly,
How much are you selling them for?
Is incredible.
How much are you selling them
incredible.
for?
Yeah.
How much are you selling them for?
$250, $280 a pop.
I bet you can get more.
I know.
Have you tried eBay's and all those like the real reels or any of those things?
Yeah, no. The Real Deal didn't want to see them because I guess Brigitte Bardot isn't like Prada.
Right.
But yeah. I mean, no. $280 is good. I'm good. I mean, I could sell them for more, but I'm not going to.
The men's one are to me like
amazing. Casino.
Yeah.
So by the way, if I'm on Netflix watching stuff, I'll usually watch things just because of the looks. If something's like done in the 70s and the 80s, I just watched for my 5th time Black Mass. With Johnny Depp, the mafia movie in Boston, the outfits, the looks, the cars.
Right.
These like the suit, this attaché, like wouldn't they need it? Wouldn't they need that for when you're doing a 70s? They need things like this. So,
definitely.
Props. That's what I'm trying. I'm trying to. All of that was just to get the word props out. Wow.
You look like Pacino in the men's one.
Like what?
Like Al Pacino in the
really?
men's glasses.
I feel more like Judah Friedlander. I feel more like Judah Friedlander.
I want to go and research Jackie O and her glasses and who made the glasses. 'Cause I really want to know where her glasses are. 'Cause I was told that Brigitte Bardot she was the originator for the oversized, and I'm interested to know Jackie O's glasses. And what
I bet you they're them. No, what was her year?
These are 1977, 78, her first collection.
So that's same Jackie's things also.
I think she's 68, 69.
I'll bet she's wearing a lot of courage.
But I think she started wearing the big glasses in the Onassis era. I don't know if she wore them.
Onassis?
Onassis
sounds like one of the Parshas. This week's Torah portion is Onassis, when Moses parted the sea, but he wasn't sure. He put it, and then he said, "Okay, Onassis, do it again." It's Onassis. Onassis. You thought this would just fly by? You couldn't catch that, Roz?
Well, I wasn't gonna correct him.
I call her Roz because she reminds me of from Frasier. Yeah. Roz in the other room.
Yeah.
It's so
is it rude to call you?
No, it's hilarious.
Anyway. So that's it. And now
so that's what I'm doing. So I sell the glasses, I sell my ties, and I stencil, and I do comedy.
It's amazing. No, And you perform, you do comedy. And I do comedy. It's such an amazing thing we do. No,
It is. It's fun.
it's
great.
fun. It's we have a new appreciation for it.
Right.
Because of COVID, and we couldn't do it for a while.
Right.
And then we began doing. Did you do the Comedy Cellar when they had the plexiglass, or did you just say no? You said yes to that?
Yeah, no, because I when it was so weird, I said, oh, I wanna. It was like, and then I went behind it. I was like, oh, I feel like a Nazi war criminal.
No, that was my first line too.
Yeah, me too.
No.
Well, we know we're Jewish, so we're gonna say that.
Explain it. When the Comedy Cellar was the first to open, they were on top and following all the rules. So they had the plexiglass on the. You worked in front of a plexiglass with the light coming at you, so you're looking at yourself.
Also,
there's an audience you hear that's live, and you're staring at yourself because the reflection.
Like Peloton.
And I want to tell you, I said, you know what? Let me lean in. I'm so tired of the Zoom shows. Let's do it. I couldn't do it.
Oh, you couldn't?
I stopped putting. I said I did it once.
Really?
I said I can't. And
why? What was the worst part about it? Like, what was a no?
Unlike you, I really need to feel the audiences if they're loving me or not. You don't really care that much.
No,
you don't care if they're in love with you.
I never care about the audience.
So
I mean, I love my audience, but I don't care. Like
no, you do love your audience, and you don't feel like some comics feel like the audience is their enemy. You don't.
Right. No.
I'm there because I love them and I'm looking forward to them. And then it's not like they didn't get him. They're but I need them.
Right.
Like I need
them to see them. You need to like
the energy back and forth.
Yeah.
Which is why the Comedy Cellar is one of the most amazing clubs, because you're working in a pressure cooker. So you boom, 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 boom. You feel it.
Right.
Also, if you bomb at the Cellar, you feel that more than anything else in the world.
That's the
Yeah.
worst.
Have you? I can't remember a time I bombed at the Cellar. I remember there are sets that are amazing.
Right.
But she puts me on a lot first or last, because she knows I can get the room going, and I can also close out the room.
You close. I never close. I open all the time.
Oh, you're opening?
I open all the time.
You first, okay.
All the time, and sometimes she'll put me on third.
Right, so at the Comedy Cellar, there's 5 spots, and 5, 6, whatever it is.
Important things
there's the host, and the host it's a hard job, because people are still sitting and ordering, but he gets them, and the first comic comes on, so it's their first time going, oh, okay, no, what do you have? And it's a hard spot.
It's like a hard spot.
But when you're in the middle, you can't tell if the new material really works or not, because they're so primed at this point.
Right.
You know, so
right.
But
yeah, I've had thankfully, those audiences at the Cellar, they're like candy. So it's very hard to bomb at the Cellar.
Right.
And I've had 1 or 2 that weren't great sets.
Right.
It's okay.
Yeah, and but
I've had so many that were great. So
yeah. It's
thank God.
Where was your biggest bomb? Did you remember your biggest bomb or no?
Yeah. Oh my God. The worst
bomb. Wait, this is a good big one. Put it into the mic here.
The worst bomb. It was a double. Not 1, not 2 nights. It was a double weekend bomb. It was one weekend and then another weekend. The Carolines booked me. It was my 4th year doing comedy. I opened for Mark Maron one weekend and Jeff Ross the following weekend. I bombed on all shows on Friday night, Saturday night, both weekends. I just died. It was so bad that this was how bad the bomb was. I'm doing my jokes, and the audience starts talking to themselves, and they get really loud. And suddenly the room, it seemed like I was in the middle of like Penn Station. That's what it was. Wow. I couldn't even get their attention. They didn't even care that I was on stage. That's how bad of a bomb it was. It wasn't silent. It got noisy. And it completely ignored me.
And you kept going.
I kept going. And then they gave me the light. And I got off early, and it was horrible.
Okay, but there's something like when you're so new, like I am, to watch you guys turn around the room, which I think and you go up, you're funny, you're brilliant, whatever. That's art, that's genius.
Well, that's part of the craft of stand-up comedy.
Right? But to watch you turn around a room or reel it back in if something's not working is the thing that's really incredible.
Yeah, and the most important thing also, you have to know how to turn a room around, because you never know what will happen, and you have to be able to do that What about you?
Yeah, no, I mean, one of the things I think is the most important thing for a comic to do right in the beginning, and I always tell anybody who asks for advice or any opening act that I bring on, whatever, it's you have to walk on with confidence. And the audience can see if you're scared to death or you're this nervous little creature, or even if you're a quiet act, like you go, hey, one of those little acts, one of those little voice, smaller acts, you know, you have to walk on with confidence. You're at a comedy club. You're about to do comedy. You need to walk on completely confident. You walk on, take the mic off, put the mic stand here. Now they know, oh, this is what he does. Like when a doctor walks into a room, right?
Right, that's amazing.
When a doctor walks into a room and he's about to go and touch you and here and there, imagine if he's scared and there's no...
Oh, let me tell you.
Wait, let me just try this. Okay, that's your noids, your noids, and da-da-da-da-da. You walk onto a stage, hi, I'm here, this is what I do.
Right.
It's going to be okay.
Right.
And when I walk on, I let them go, last night.
That's amazing.
No, he's 100.
No, but that's amazing.
Confidence.
I'm going through an implant right now on number 15 on my tooth. The guy the guy that comes in and he starts fidgeting with the thing. He's like, he turns to the assistant. How do I put this in? I'm like, you're gonna give that to her? She's putting it in. You're not putting it in my mouth. And then he left the room and then she put it in.
Wow.
So he was new.
Yes,
he didn't know what to do.
Amazing.
And I didn't want that.
Exactly what I meant.
So
he should have been like, okay, and put it in.
Right.
And put it in.
Yeah.
And if he does it wrong, the head attending doctor will go, well, let me adjust that here. Wow, great. And the head doctor would say, great job. Let me adjust that here. Right. You see how between the 14 and 15, whatever. How do you know the teeth's name? And you know the bicuspid and the molar and and you just speak with confidence. Not how do I do this? You walk on stage. I am where I need to be. You're where you need to be. We're about to do this. Last night I walked on stage. I was at stand-up in New York, and it was a second show, 9:30 show. I did a 7 o'clock show. You've been to these things with me. And the room is, all Jewish and splattered of like yarmulkes, no yarmulkes, this and that. And there's a Hasidic table stage right. Stage left. I'm dyslexic. So if I'm facing this way, they're here.
If you're facing
Stage
the audience to the left.
To the left. Okay. Anyway, there's a table of Hasidic guys. And I walk on stage, they're just clapping and all that. And I grab the mic, and I put my papers down, the new material, and a drink. I just turned to them and began speaking to them for about 25 seconds. And that's
a long time.
That's time.
Yeah.
I didn't say 2 minutes or a minute. 25 seconds, I began speaking to them in Yiddish. And the rest of the room knew. Do you understand how confident you need to be? I'm going to talk to them in Yiddish before I get to you.
Oh, yeah, it's great.
And it was definitely I forgot I'm wearing these. You couldn't tell me I'm wearing the glasses.
That's a compliment.
It was good.
Yeah,
They were
that's
light,
good.
they
That's
felt good.
That's a high quality.
That's a high. I
Yeah.
forgot I was wearing these. They
Yeah.
were actually very comfortable.
Right.
But you have to have confidence, and you have confidence.
Right.
You walk on.
It took me a while.
I
It
know
took
my
me a long
material.
time.
I know my material. I'm doing my thing. If it works for you, gesundheit hate. If it doesn't, kishen tuchus.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Do we need to?
Yes.
Gesundheit hate. If it works for you, in good health. If it doesn't, kiss my ass.
Yeah.
Okay, and you got it.
Okay.
She's very
But-
machbid very strict that we
I just-
Use
define everything.
I just
to.
want to make sure people understand what's going on.
Right. It's nice to sprinkle Yiddish into an English podcast.
But you always have to translate right away.
Right.
Can
Yeah.
you clarify something?
Yeah.
I didn't know that there was a difference between Polish Yiddish and Hungarian Yiddish.
Wow.
Well, I'm probably
and
not
night.
in the minority.
Day
here.
and night, not day and night, and completely understandable. And it's like it's like a Southern accent to a New York accent type of a thing.
Really? That extreme?
So the E and the U are reversed.
But are those the only two kinds of Yiddish, or are there a bunch of different
It's
dialects?
kind
Is
of
it a
that.
dialect?
That's it. And you fall somewhere near those. So there's like the E and the U. So Baruch. In Polish, it's Baruch, and in Yiddish, it's Burich.
Oh.
Baruch and Burich, and so it's strange, Vivu. Where, and where, it's Vivu. So it's
I mean, it makes sense. And there are dialects in every language.
Right, but this is
Even
a very strong. Like,
and they
it's
can understand each other.
Yeah.
And the Orthodox Jews or the ultra-Orthodox Jews, everybody speaks only Yiddish when you're ultra-Orthodox, or they're...
No, I don't know what Hasidic. In the Hasidic community, they speak. There could be guys that are more religious in the Hasidic community that they don't speak Yiddish.
Eastern European.
Yeah.
Right. Like Poland, Russia, like that's where Yiddish.
It was funny. Last night, just to get back to last night. So the night before, I'm performing for a Hasidic audience. And some of my jokes, I forgot. I'm so into my COVID material, my quarantine material. I forgot that they didn't quarantine. So I'm doing this stuff. I'm doing Zoom school. They're looking at me like I'm out of my mind. And then so last night, I don't know if you've ever seen when I do a show and there's like a few non-Jews in the audience and I do the translation of whatever the material is to them.
Right.
So last night I was translating to them. I go, and you guys did Zoom school with your kids. And I would go, Zoom school is when, like, unlike you, the kids stayed home.
Yeah.
And it was so funny.
Yeah, that's
like,
amazing. Because you got all this. Did you realize it midway?
No, I realized it Wednesday night. Thursday night, I had fun with it because I knew that they know what Zoom school was and they know what the world was going through, but it didn't affect them. It didn't affect them, and so it's very much, again, know your audience, but your audience needs to also know you. Oh, wait a minute. That's really good, no?
Yeah.
It's a good thing we recorded it.
Thanks, Roz. No, I have a tour coming up. It's called Know Your Audience. Know Your Audience, but I really think the audience needs to know you too.
Right.
Or needs to know just where you are, not specifics.
Well, I think that's a good rule for comedy. You want them to get to know you in the first 30 seconds, 40 seconds.
That's what you always say too. You say you have to be honest.
Right up front.
No matter what's going on, even if it's a disaster, that's what you've told me. You have to be honest about what's going, which is what you just said too, about realizing that, on Thursday you could have fun with it because on Wednesday, like, you realize.
Right. Yeah. It was, exactly. So, yeah.
Sage advice.
Sage?
Sage advice.
Yeah, like great sages.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, now I have a question I always ask on the podcast. Like, who's your daddy, but who's your rabbi? And I don't mean rabbi like what synagogue you go to. Who is the person you go to for spiritual advice? If you have a question, because rabbi means teacher. So who is your rabbi?
Well, okay. In reality, my brother, Rabbi Joel Cohen, is my rabbi. I ask him because he's very stark. He's really strict. He's orthodox. And he's going to give me the answers whether I like them or not. But really also, I love Gabriel Bellino,
who was our first guest.
Yeah. And I love Rabbi. So he's like my rabbi that I can talk to, and he's a loving person. But if I really need answers, like really like the deep answers, the hard answers, I go to my brother Joel. Wow. So I mix the two.
Yeah. No, it's not really mixed the two. It's two different types of. Because you can't mix the two. You have your teacher, and you don't. If he doesn't give you the answer you want, you can't go to somebody else for a different answer. But you're asking two different questions.
But I like hearing two different answers, and I always lean towards the answer that I know is a harder answer.
Okay.
I never go with the easier answer. I always go with the harder answer. Okay. That's my personality.
Yeah.
But I like to hear the easier answer also.
Good.
It's just mixes it up a little bit. No.
No. Any other things?
I always go with the easier answer.
Right. It's just
It's just easier.
Do I have to? I can't listen to music. Well, you can. Whenever they do that, I really just throw my hands up in the air. Like, you can listen to music before this time. Oh, that's just going to be very specific to explain that.
No, but listen. I mean, I think that. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think I'm not a purist. I don't think you're a purist either.
No, he's not. A purist would mean he's living with a woman with 18 kids.
No, not necessarily.
Or with a kid. Or am I getting the purist thing wrong?
Can you right?
Okay, define a purist.
Yeah, define the purist.
You're very pro-gay. and yet you believe wholeheartedly in gay rights, except you also believe in what you call Torah values.
Right.
So if you were a purist, you would believe in one or the other. You would
okay,
reject.
good. So I'm not. I'm not a purist,
Right.
right? I'm really liberal. Really,
Again, he's not purist or gay. He's just nervous. It's just it all goes back to being nervous.
I'm just really liberal, is what it is.
No,
Yeah.
I think it's more than that. I think it's about being. I think that truly things are more nuanced and complicated than that.
Right. I appreciate complicated things.
It's like I don't
Yeah.
need
It's
me.
normal to be
And
complicated.
it sounds like you've complicated your life as much as you can.
It was already complicated. I'm trying to, figure out how to make it less complicated, but it is complicated.
Yeah.
Right.
It's great, and you make people laugh, and that's the most important thing. And and just it's an amazing gift you have.
Yeah.
It's
thanks.
I
love it.
I love it too.
And I know you love it too. Yeah.
Yeah,
We all
sure.
love it. But,
And people, please make sure follow you on Instagram. What's your handle?
Danny Cohen Comedy.
Danny Cohen Comedy on Instagram,
Yeah.
and it's worth it. Just out of nowhere, you'll see on top, Danny's going live. If you're in some state of mind that you would just hit it and watch for 2 seconds. You're either in it or like I can't do it right now, and you come out of it.
And I
right?
love questions. So you can always just pop on and ask me questions.
You do answer the questions.
I love reading my comments.
I
read all my
block them. I
comments.
can't. I almost never go live, but I'm going to start going live because I'm be pushing a lot of things soon, like this upcoming tour. But
And this podcast.
and this podcast, yes, and but those things are so. I'm so well, not just dyslexic, but like ADD. If I start to see this guy saying hello, that guy, but you work it so well.
Yeah, it's fun. I like to rant and then read and then rant and read and then I bounce off what they're asking me, and then I go into another tangent, and it's fun.
It's fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's all about having fun.
And I can't do that live though. It's very hard to. I'm not a good host. Like I don't open well for a show, but I do it well on. It's funny. I can read the live and I like going live, but I can't do that on stage. I'm not a good opener, meaning an MC.
Okay, that
a
I'll agree
different
with
craft.
you. That I'll agree with you. You don't want to go up there and have to get their
You talk
attention.
to
You
them
want
and like,
you
and
want
then
it
that- yeah.
served to you. Here's an audience. I'm ready to.
Right.
But when you do crowd work,
Yeah.
you do something I do.
What do you do?
Okay, instead of where do you work from? Where do you? If you end up, if you're in a bit and someone yells something out, you'll be like. You realize it hit them.
Yeah.
It hit them.
Right.
So you'll acknowledge it.
Yes.
They'll throw you something, and you'll work with that, bringing it back into the bit.
Right.
Bringing it back into the bit,
right.
which is a talent because they think you're coming off the cuff.
Right.
But in the meanwhile, like you have a bit that's the knock joke, if it's Shabbos or not
Okay,
Shabbos.
yeah.
So you said to them, like, you're the type of audience that would be like, and if you take that pause, they think you just came up with it.
Right.
And you do that.
Right.
It's an important gift. So and another important gift is to keep these podcasts as just tight. And so I feel like we nailed it. Okay, so you have your merchandise, and I guess they could just DM you.
Yes, DM me, or it's like Danny Cohen Ties on Instagram.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Danny's Vintage Sunglasses on Instagram. Danny Cohen Comedy, or just Danny Cohen Comedy and DM me. And
DM him.
I'll
and
lead
get,
you the
so
way.
I think you said there's another pair of these, right?
Yeah, I have like 4 more of those.
Okay, and
yeah.
as per your advice, I brought some of my merch. Here's my Yoeli cup.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys know I ran for president, Yoeli, but I didn't win. I didn't win as president, but I did become secretary of Simcha. And these cups, believe it or not, sell a lot outside of America. Australia, London, these go all the time. And it's but in America too, they should be selling as well, and they're fun and I'm so happy you did this with me.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
It was like I'm still just beginning the podcast stuff, and so far I had Gav Bellino and you, and it's just people that I'm so comfortable with. Yeah. And thank you so much, and thank you so much for these.
Yeah, they look great on you.
I gotta find a hat.
I mean, they
to
look good on me, but they look great on
Really?
you. Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody, thank you all very, very much for tuning in, and I'm at Modi_live on Instagram, which is the best way to reach me, but ModiLive.com as well. and there's an upcoming tour. By the time this hits the airway, that'll be alive and running. Thank you very much, Periel.
Thank
And
you.
thank you very much, Danny Cohen and Miles on the sound over there and Gotham Studios. That's it. What's like a good end thing? Keep laughing and stay well.
Sei gesund.
Sei gesund. Sei gesund, sei gesund, whichever one works for you, but don't forget, sei besimcha, be happy.
That's
That's
it.
great.
That's good for you.